Beware of little expenses. A small leak will sink a great ship. If you know how to spend less than you get, you have the philosopher's stone. Having been poor is no shame, being ashamed of it is. The art of getting riches consists very much in thrift. All men are not equally qualified for getting money, but it is in the power of every one alike to practice this virtue. If you would know the value of money, go try to borrow some, for he that goes a-borrowing goes a-sorrowing. Content makes poor men rich, discontentment makes rich men poor. I am for doing good to the poor, but I think the best way of doing good to the poor is not making them easy in poverty but leading or driving them out of it. I observed that the more public provisions were made for the poor, the less they provided for themselves, and of course, became poorer. And, on the contrary, the less was done for them, the more they did for themselves, and became richer. A penny saved is a penny earned. 3 may keep a secret if 2 of them are dead. Love your enemies, for they tell you your faults. In the affairs of this world, men are saved, not by faith, but by the lack of it. Lost time is never found again. No gains without pains. Either write something worth reading or do something worth writing. The way to see by faith is to shut the eye of reason. Women are books, and men the readers be. There cannot be good living where there is not good drinking. Speak little, do much. He that lies down with dogs shall rise up with fleas. To all apparent beauties blind, each blemish strikes an envious mind. Clean your finger before you point at my spots. Search others for their virtues, thyself for thy vices. There are 3 faithful friends, an old wife, an old dog, and ready money. He that's content hath enough, he that complains has too much. The world is full of fools and faint hearts, and yet everyone has courage enough to bear the misfortunes, and wisdom enough to manage the affairs of his neighbor. Better slip with foot than tongue. He that falls in love with himself will have no rivals. Look before, or you'll find yourself behind. Don't throw stones at your neighbors if your own windows are glass. He that would live in peace and at ease must not speak all he knows or judge all he sees. Well done is better than well said. What you seem to be really. A true friend is the best possession. When you're good to others, you're best to yourself. Pardoning the bad is injuring the good. Hide not your talents, they for use were made. What's a sundial in the shade? Glass, china, and reputation are easily cracked, and never well mended. What more valuable than gold? Diamonds. Than diamonds. Virtue. Haste makes waste. It is better to take many injuries than to give one. Wish not so much to live long as to live well. A right heart exceeds all. God heals, and the doctor takes the fees. Eat to live and not live to eat. Be not sick too late, nor well too soon. If you are active and prosperous, or young, or in good health, it may be easier for you to augment your means than to diminish your wants. But if you are wise, you will do both at the same time, young or old, rich or poor, sick or well, and if you are wise, you will do both in such a way as to augment the general happiness of society. To lengthen thy life, lessen thy meals. Don't misinform your doctor nor your lawyer. An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. But in this world, nothing can be said to be certain, except death and taxes. Fear not death, for the sooner we die, the longer we shall be immortal. Most men die from the neck up at age 25 because they stop dreaming. I look upon death to be as necessary to our constitution as sleep. The best of all medicines are rest and fasting. The person who deserves most pity is a lonesome one on a rainy day who doesn't know how to read. Reading makes a full man, meditation a profound man, discourse a clear man. The heart of a fool is in his mouth, but the mouth of a wise man is in his heart. If you would not be forgotten, as soon as you are dead and rotten, either write things worth reading or do things worth writing. If a man empties his purse into his head, no man can take it away from him. An investment in knowledge always pays the best interest. I would advise you to read with a pen in hand and enter in a little book short hints of what you find that is curious, or that may be useful, for this will be the best method of imprinting such particulars in your memory. If you would persuade, you must appeal to interest rather than intellect. Educate your children to self-control, to the habit of holding passion and prejudice and evil tendencies subject to an upright and reasoning will, and you have done much to abolish misery from their future and crimes from society. An investment in knowledge always pays the best interest. Tell me, and I forget. Teach me, and I may remember. Involve me, and I learn. Words may show a man's wit, actions his meaning. We are all born ignorant, but one must work hard to remain stupid. Common sense is something that everyone needs. Few have, and none think they lack. Man and woman have each of them qualities and tempers in which the other is deficient, and which in union contribute to the common felicity. To expect people to be good, to be just, to be temperate, etc., without showing them how they should become so, seems like the ineffectual charity mentioned by the Apostle, which consisted in saying to the hungry, the cold, and the naked, "Be ye fed, be ye warmed, be ye clothed," without showing them how they should get food, fire, or clothing. Those that won't be counseled can't be helped. Never ruin an apology with an excuse. Remember not only to say the right thing in the right place, but far more difficult still, to leave unsaid the wrong thing at the tempting moment. He that is good for making excuses is seldom good for anything else. Whatever is begun in anger ends in shame. Men are subject to various inconveniences merely through lack of a small share of courage, which is a quality very necessary in the common occurrences of life, as well as in a battle. How many impertinences do we daily suffer with great uneasiness, because we have not courage enough to discover our dislike. After all, wedlock is the natural state of man. A bachelor is not a complete human being. He is like the odd half of a pair of scissors, which has not yet found its fellow, and therefore is not even half so useful as they might be together. Fear to do ill, and you need fear naught else. Early to bed and early to rise makes a man healthy, wealthy, and wise. There was never a truly great man that was not at the same time truly virtuous. When I am employed in serving others, I do not look upon myself as conferring favors, but as paying debts. I have received much kindness from men to whom I shall never have an opportunity of making the least direct returns, and numberless mercies from God, who is infinitely above being benefited by our services. Those kindnesses from men I can, therefore, only return on their fellow men, and I can only show my gratitude for those mercies from God by a readiness to help His other children. There are two ways of being happy. We may either diminish our wants or augment our means. Either will do. The result is the same, and it is for each man to decide for himself, and do that which happens to be the easiest. If you are idle or sick or poor, however hard it may be to diminish your wants, it will be harder to augment your means. Wink at small faults, remember thou hast great ones. Be slow in choosing a friend, slower in changing. Speak ill of no man, but speak all the good you know of everybody. 'Tis a great confidence in a friend to tell him your faults, greater to tell him his. Be at war with your vices, at peace with your neighbors, and let every new year find you a better man. The best thing to give to your enemy is forgiveness, to an opponent, tolerance, to a friend, your heart, to your child, a good example, to a father, deference, to your mother, conduct that will make her proud of you, to yourself, respect, to all others, charity. It is a common error in friends when they would extol their friends, to make comparisons, and to depreciate the merits of others. There is much difference between imitating a man and counterfeiting him. I don't believe in stereotypes. I prefer to hate people on a more personal basis. A learned blockhead is a greater blockhead than an ignorant one. Each year, one vicious habit rooted out in time might make the worst man good throughout. A great talker may be no fool, but he is one that relies on him. The worship of God is a duty. The hearing and reading of sermons may be useful, but if men rest in hearing and praying, as too many do, it is as if a tree should value itself in being watered and putting forth leaves, though it never produced any fruit. Don't go to the doctor with every distemper, nor to the lawyer with every quarrel, nor to the pot for every thirst. A new truth is a truth, an old error is an error. Tricks and treachery are the practice of fools, that don't have brains enough to be honest. Creditors have better memories than debtors. God helps them who help themselves. Hope and faith may be more firmly built upon charity than charity upon faith and hope. When the well's dry, we know the worth of water. It is easier to prevent bad habits than to break them.